The next thing I'm going to do is take you to a program where we actually do some error checking. This next program I just brought up, it's called try parse empty numeric test. It just goes over multiple different ways to test different types of data, and it has the code for it. First thing I'm going to do is check name. Now really with a name there's not much we can do. If I'm trying to see in a text box if somebody gave me the correct information of name, basically what I usually do is just try to figure out if they gave me anything at all. There's so many hundreds of thousands or millions of different names, I can't go through every name and say, oh yeah, Steve's a correct one, but this thing you gave me isn't. So usually with something like that, I just go to see if they gave me any data at all. The easiest way to do that is with a function called string.empty. So I'm going to take a look at this code. I've got an if statement. If txtname.text equals string.empty, then, well, if it equals string.empty, I know they didn't give me anything. So as I alluded to in the earlier part of this video, we're going to use an input box and we're going to get that information and put it into name. So to recap, I've got if txtname.text equals string.empty, then strname equals input box, please enter my name, and then I'm going to take that, what they gave me, and put it into my text box. So go ahead and run this. So I check the name. If they gave me information, this code basically does nothing. If they didn't give me information, it's blank, for example, I hit check name and it says, oh, please enter my name. So I go ahead and I enter it. The other thing I can do is I can check a variable like age to see if it's the right type of information. For name, I pretty much just checked if they gave me anything. For age, I want to check and make sure it is an integer. For that, what I can do is a very specific function called a try parse. For each variable type we have, whether it's integer or string or double or date, we have a try parse here. So what I'm doing for this one to check and make sure that what they gave me is an integer, I have an if statement, if not integer.tryparse txtAge.text comma int age, then I'm going to ask them for the input box. Age needs to be numeric, and I'm going to put it into this text box. Now, a couple things about if statements. We went over if statements a lot in our previous week. The not keyword is a reverser. Basically, if it passes the integer try parse test, I don't want to do anything. I'm good to go. It's only if it does not pass the integer try parse test that I want to have it do this next line of code. That's why in my if statement I use the keyword not. If not integer.tryparse. That means if you didn't pass this test, like I can't take what's in this text box and put it into this variable, then I want to give you the input box. So I give them the input box, takes their information, puts it into the text box, and then from there I put it into the variable. So I'm going to go ahead and run this, see how it works. So I check age. Let's say, for example, they give me text for age, like some younger person is doing it. They're 10 years old. They type 10. I go to check age. It says age needs to be numeric. Say, oh, okay. I'm going to type the actual number now, 10. And it takes that, puts it into the the text box. The other thing that I can do, once I verify that I did get an integer, with a variable like age, maybe it has what I feel is an acceptable range. I figure, hey, if somebody gave me a negative number for age, or they gave me a number over 100, it's a little suspect, so I figure maybe something's not right with this data, so I'm going to do another check on it. Now in this if statement, notice I use the keyword or. Most of our if statements previously, we use the keyword and. If you use the keyword and, it means both conditions have to be true for the overall if statement to be true. Now we can't use the keyword and in this case because there is no number that's less than 100, less than 0, and also greater than 100. If you can think of a number like that, then give me a call. The OR keyword means if either of these conditions is true, then the overall if statement is considered to be true. So if the number is less than 0 or it's greater than 100, I want to trigger off this if statement. And basically this one says age needs to be between 0 and 100. So if I run this, and maybe the first time they kind of give me incorrect data, I hit check age, that flags it the first time. So I say, alright, maybe I went to type in 19, but I hit an extra 0. So the second time, it gives me another message box. It says age needs to be between 0 and 100. So, alright, now I type the correct information, and I'm on my way. But in this case, I checked for two different things. I checked that it was an integer, and I also checked that it was in the right range. Now, one piece of information I want to give you that's kind of important, it's really important which order you do this in, meaning you always check first off to make sure if they gave you anything at all, if you need to do that like we did in name. Second off, you check, is it the right type of data? And then in this case, is it the right range? I can't check and see if it's in the right range unless I already know it's the right type of data. So that's the order in which I would do these. So that's kind of important too. I've got another button here to check the date, and I'm also going to use a try parse. The try parse is a really powerful command. Like I mentioned before, it does have a different application for every single variable. Again, in this case, I'm saying if not date.tryparse, and I'm using the text box txt birthdate.text and my variable dat birthdate, then I want to give them this input box. Date needs to be in the format and that format. So if I run this one, I've got it here. If I type in kind of, gibberish, anything gibberish, I say check date, it does flag it. So I say, okay, I'll type in today's date maybe. And it's okay with that. The thing I love about the check date one is this. Let me run this again. I type in a date, looks like it's the right format and everything. I go check date, it comes up with my message box. Now, why won't it take this date? 2/29/11. Well, this is February 29th, 2011. It wasn't a leap year. So not only does it check that, all right, you gave me the right format, but it really goes deeper and check that that's an actual date. So it's a really nice function to use. Try parse date is about the only way I know of in programming that you can verify that something is an actual date. So again, I'll put in another date that's actually a real date, and it accepts it. Excuse me. The last one I wanted to talk about is my zip one, and here I used a function called isNumeric. IsNumeric is a tiny bit more general than my try parse, where I checked for an integer. IsNumeric pretty much just checks to make sure they gave me numbers. It doesn't care whether it's a double or an integer or a decimal. It just looks if it's a number. So if I run this one and I give it some gibberish text, I check zip, it says nope, it has to be a number. If I put in a number, it's happy. And again, this one is excuse me, I use the keyword not because I'm only concerned about flagging this if it's not numeric. So I put if not is numeric, I looked at my text box, txtzip.text, then I want to give them this input box to get them to put in the right information. Anyhow, that's kind of a recap on a lot of different ways that we can do error checking. We've got the string.empty, we've got our try parse, we've got isNumeric. So we've got a lot of different ways to check errors. In your homework that's coming up for this week, we have the wage homework revisited. It's kind of like what we did in the old wage one, except in this one you have to do quite a bit of error checking. So anyhow, hopefully this video will be helpful to you. We'll see you next time.